Hello, my name is Mary Waker, and it's my pleasure to share with you the app I designed for my final project for IT 7220 for the winter 2013 semester. I called this app LevelUp, and the reason I called it LevelUp is because it was designed to support students who are enrolled in the teacher education program in the College of Education where I work, and it's to help students who are in level 1 move to level 2. This is a problem that we've experienced with students getting kind of lost and unsure what courses they need to take, and so I created this app as a way of helping students figure out what they need to do and move them forward. I wanted to make sure that the information was available where the students are. Most students have some type of smartphone available to them that they use, and we're hoping that it would provide a progress report for students to use that we can also share with our advisors and helping and keeping track of where students are. One thing we'd like to do is use this as a tool to increase interaction with students. So by tying them to our advisors and having our advisors do follow-ups with the students after they've completed running through the app. The participants involved in developing and implementing this app began with our critical participants, which are the advisors in our academic services area in the college, and of course our teacher education level 1 students. As far as people involved in actually developing the app, I'm hoping to involve the university's Computing and Information Technology division. I also have some colleagues in the College of Engineering who may be willing to lend a hand in getting this app actually done. I suspect that CNIT will be involved in the actual maintenance after we've deployed the app, and I assume the College of Education is willing to market and get this into the hands of the students. Down the road, I suspect if we have a proof of concept that the app really does work, that perhaps university advising might take an interest in this, and perhaps even the Office of Student Affairs. The implementation of this app means that students would use it to develop a type of status report, where they are in their college career, and looking at what courses they've taken, and then use that as a guideline for working their way through the app, which actually ends up generating a list of courses they need to take. So they'll end up with not an official plan of work, but a guideline that will help them continue to move forward and know what classes they need to take. They can use this app as many times as they want. As they move forward, they can go through and create a new list and get to the point where their list is 0 number of classes they need to advance to level 2. And hopefully they would be then accepted into teacher education level 2 program and continue on with their teaching program. When I began designing this app, I had to think about all the information that students needed to look at, and then I couldn't guarantee that my audience, the students, would all have iOS devices. The majority of them probably do, but I couldn't guarantee that. So my app is designed, it's a web-based app, and because it's a web-based app, it will work on both iOS and Android devices. It is designed specifically for a smartphone or an iPod Touch. And I followed university kind of the marketing schemes that they use, the color schemes that they use in marketing. It's a very plain design, very simple design. It's not elaborate. There are no graphics other than the college logo. It's very similar in design to an app that CNIT created called the Mobile Advisor. Behind the app interface, there'll be a database that will be developed based on the curriculum guides that have all the information needed, all the classes needed for the different program areas within teacher education. I don't have the experience for creating that database, so I'm sincerely hoping I can convince CNIT or someone in the College of Engineering to do that for me. There are only 4 screens that the students see for this app. The home screen provides an opportunity to weed out those students who really shouldn't be using this app to create a list of courses. There is an explanation of what the app is for, some disclaimer, and then an opportunity for students to respond. If they are not enrolled in the College of Education, they'll be redirected to the online application. If they're not an undergraduate, they'll get a message saying this is for undergraduates only. The second screen is where students will identify themselves and by their name and their email address, and it'll also provide more instructions for what they need to do as they progress through the app. The third screen is where we actually collect data. Students will identify their program area first. That has an impact on which database information is provided. The center of the screen is where the questions will be asked for each of the different sections of the database. I'll explain that further in the flowchart in a moment. The final screen is where they get the results. This is the report that's generated, and they have the option then to email it to themselves. They can also email that to an advisor, or they can save that file to an existing Dropbox account so they can refer back to it at a future date. This is the overview flowchart. Starting at the top, if students are asked whether or not they've been admitted to the college and then redirected if they haven't, they continue on. The WSU competencies are all identified, and any classes that haven't been taken get added to the needs list or needs to take list. The same is true for the WSU group requirements, College of Education requirements, which are the specific program area requirements, and then the level 2 requirements. The needs list generates one large needs list of all the classes they need to take in order to enter level 2. If the number of classes on that list is 0, then they're directed to apply for level 2. If they have classes they need to take, then they would continue on taking classes, and then they could come through this app once again as they progress through their program. This is a breakdown of the university or the Wayne State competencies. There are 6 different areas. The first 2 areas, basic composition and intermediate composition, require a C or better. If they've taken the class and haven't gotten a C or better, they need to retake the class. It is added to the needs list if they need to retake it. Any classes in the other competencies that they still need to take would be added to the needs list, and then that gets added to the larger needs list. The same is true for the group requirements. The College of Education, this is different only in that each individual program area has a needs list. The students wouldn't go through each of these program areas. They only go through the program area they're enrolled in. And finally, the level 2 requirements that they need to complete before applying for level 2. This application will be introduced to students during the student orientation. They will also get an instruction sheet, which is available on my website. And then they will also be able to get this app through a link in the college website, most likely in the teacher education area. Advisors that meet with the students from our academic services will also be able to provide students with a recommendation to download and go through the app. And all of the students entering the college are put in a community of learners, and that information, the app information, will be shared with the community of learners at their meetings. Looking back on this project and the development of this project, I have to say there was an awful lot of confusion on my part at the beginning. The draft document has value, I don't doubt that. I did find it a little confusing at the beginning. I had no idea what I wanted to do at the beginning. What app did I want to create? What topic? And that really did create some anxiety on my part. The wireframes initially totally threw me. However, when I found a tutorial on how to use the wireframes, it suddenly started to make sense. The development process, I have no experience with developing apps, and I'm sure that's true for many of the participants in this class. And that really did raise my anxiety levels. And I wasn't really sure where this was going to lead. One thing I did find is there is really a a lot of advantages to having some good communication. I was very lucky. I met with the advisors from academic services. They gave me an awful lot of information on what this process of moving from level 1 to level 2 is. And they actually provided some rather good suggestions for what features they would like to see in it. So that was very helpful. Another piece of communication was being able to meet with Tammy, because she was great in providing support and encouragement and talking me off the water tower on those days when I thought I would never get this project finished. After having completed this project, I now think back and realize that the one thing that really helped me was the storyboarding. I can't tell you how many pages of drawings I have trying to figure out how I wanted this app to work and what I wanted it to do. Eventually, the light bulb did go on, but it was really based on the fact that the storyboard provided that visual concept that helped me get beyond the confusion and the anxiety. Having the opportunity to speak with the advisors really was very helpful. And even when I spoke with Tammy about what I was hoping to do, she gave me some great suggestions, and I really believe that the brainstorming aspect was extremely helpful in the development of this project. I do have a renewed confidence in myself, and I do think that I would try this process again. And when I come up with my next idea, I have at least a feeling of that I could do it. And I am sincerely hoping that this will not be the last app that I create. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my process of app development, and I sincerely hope that maybe one day you can actually see the final project.